if he's your guy and you feel like that's what you want,
yeah,
then go up and get him. If you're convinced that Caleb Williams is the answer for you at quarterback, and this is what you want, because it's the D.C. area and you need it's new ownership and you want to make a splash and you want to do all of those things, then give them whatever the hell they want and go get your guy if that's what you feel. I wouldn't do it because I think that there's a lot to be built and a lot to be desired at quarterbacks and other positions in this particular draft that you need to build your team. Now, if you feel like he's a future and it's just Cliff Kingsbury has gone in there and he sold you on it because he's selling you on his system and he was around him, although he did not coach him at USC. He was around the program, okay?
He was an advisor?
He was around the program.
Okay.
And if you are listening to him and he's telling you that that's the guy and you're going to hitch your wagon to that.
Cliff will know.
You go ahead and you go ahead and you make the move. Don't be afraid to do it.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to do it if that's what you really like. But what I would say is maybe there's a Jaden Daniels that career becomes different or better than Caleb Williams. And now maybe you can sit back and you can say, I'll go get me either quarterback. I don't have to give up a lot. If Chicago is going to play this bluff game and I got to go up and get him, but maybe they're not, and I can sit back and take my chance and wait. And if they do take Caleb, then maybe C.J. Stroud falls into my lap in Jaden Daniels. And if I'm not ready to play Jaden Daniels, there's a guy out there named Russell Wilson that is not going to cost me much, and I can insert him into the lineup. Why Jaden Daniels kind of sits back, plays the Jordan Love role, and eventually you give way to him, and he's sitting on the sideline waiting to go. Because either one of these quarterbacks is a rookie. Everybody's not going to be C.J. Stroud and come in and light it up as a rookie. It's just not. It just doesn't work that way.
That was as rare as it gets.
As rare as it gets. Yeah. And if you want to insert somebody in a lineup like that, you're going to have some bumps and some bruises. And you may find yourself winning a handful of games instead of more games. And if you get a veteran guy that can sit back for a couple years while this young man learns the NFL and develops, that may be a Russell Wilson type situation.
Okay. All makes sense. I'm going to speak as a Dallas Cowboy fan, and I have despised what used to be called the Redskins for years and years, now the Commanders.
Are you getting ready to tell me whatever they do is because of the Dallas Cowboys?
No.
Okay.
What I would fear the most as a Cowboy fan is if they traded up and gave whatever it took to get Caleb. Caleb has it factor to me. Caleb is the best playmaker in this draft, and I think he will prove to be the best quarterback in this draft. And the fit for him is D.C. because prodigal son goes home. After winning the Heisman out in Hollywood, he goes home to D.C. to lift up the sleeping giant that is Washington under the new owner, who is Josh Harris. I do believe in Josh Harris. I think he'll do good to great things there.
Yeah. He's hired the right people to help advise him. He's brought in Magic Johnson as a minority partner.
Yep.
Bob Myers to help him.
Yep.
I get it.
Okay. So you have Dan Quinn to run the show and also run the defensive side of the football, and now you have Cliff Kingsbury, who does know Caleb, has spent some time around Caleb running the offensive side of the ball. It makes sense, and more sense because it would re-spark the fandom in D.C. Everybody would rise up. The hope would be rampant. And this kid can stand up to the pressure and the hope because he's been out here playing for your team and he won the Heisman and there was a lot of pressure, a lot of expectation. That won't disturb him at all. I think he's fearless. Does he have some issues? Yes, he does. I thought he would measure under 6 feet, but he measured 6'1". So I'll take that.
6'1", I feel like 215, 220.
Okay. That'll work.
That's a little thicky.
Okay. Neither of us have liked him off schedule, off platform, where he takes one quick look and ducks and goes. You can't survive that way in the National Football League, but Cliff has coached in the National Football League, and I believe all that can be coached out, where he can realize some of that'll work, as it did for Russ early on in Seattle, as it still does for Mahomes, but you can't do it every single play, because he got to the point in your offense where he is escaping before he takes one quick look. Like you don't do two reads, you do one quick read. I don't even think he's looking. I think
but in the National Football League, one quick look and take off, they're going to hit you in your ear hole.
They are. Somebody will hit you and somebody will hurt you. I'm knocking on wood for him.
They'll hit him in his ear hole.
But they beat up Russell Wilson those years in Seattle, and he's still paying for that right now. Mahomes has escapability, but he's got that sixth sense of self-protection in him, and Patrick has been able to do it at a very high level. Caleb could figure out how to do it, not at a Mahomes. I'm not saying he's Patrick Mahomes, but he could be a high-quality starter. I think he'll be the best quarterback in this draft, but mostly...
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll be the best quarterback in the draft, because circumstances and situations that you're in allows you to be the best. If as much as your high regard on Cliff Kingsbury and the air raid system and what they were able to do, wasn't like they did a whole lot in Arizona with a former Heisman Trophy winner in Kyler Murray. I think they went to one playoff appearance and the Rams smacked them.
They did.
So and you talk about all that running around and all that stuff. Kyler Murray had an ACL injury running around and doing all of that. He missed time because of that. So you can't get so enamored with the air raid system and Cliff King. If in fact that's even what he's going to run, I have no idea what he's going to run. For all I know, he's not even running the air raid. He may have some concepts and principles that have some similarities in that system that he may run with Dan Quinn. But remember, Dan Quinn is a defensive-minded coach. He wants to run the football, and he wants to play defense. He brought in Anthony Lynn as the run game coordinator from the San Francisco 49ers, who had some success, or mild success, lack thereof, with the Chargers as their head coach. So I'm not sure what they are going to do from a combination standpoint. But when you talk about the best quarterback, and you talk about off-platform and off-schedule and all of these different things, Jalen Daniels throws the best ball. The best ball. He's slight. Okay, he's a little, little skinny little joker. Nice tall drink of water, as I like to say. But he throws the best ball in this draft class, in my opinion. Now, does that mean that the Washington Commanders, they like him? That doesn't mean that they like him. They may not like him. They may think he's the worst quarterback in this year's draft. I don't know. But I can't just all of a sudden say that Caleb is going to be the best quarterback because many people tried to tell you that Bryce Young was going to be the best quarterback and C.J. Stroud.
Well, that's to be determined. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, okay.
Let him get with some. Let him get with the real team.
I get it, but there's a reason this game is for big boys.
Okay, all right. So speaking of big boys, these 6'1" and something Caleb Williams, I'm looking at his 3 years of college productivity.
A lot of productivity.
120 touchdowns to only 19 turnovers, including interceptions and lost fumbles.
Call it 9 turnovers.
Wow.
10 of them was somebody else's fault.
All right, 120 to 9.
Yeah, that's what I would say.
That's extreme college football productivity.
And how many victories?
Whew. He went 23-10 as a starting quarterback.
And how many of those victories or defeats were against top 15 opponents? So there's more to it than just looking at the quarterback position.
How often did he get let down by the Grinch who stole football? Your defensive coordinator at USC
I'm not just talking about USC. I'm talking about Oklahoma and USC.
Yeah, I know, both
a combination.
But,
the defense didn't hold his in. But when you are a contributing factor to those losses, you can't say Grinch was terrible. There's no question about it. But you can't say that Grinch was all, but the quarterback is contributing to the defense getting back on the field when you're giving the ball to the other team at the wrong time.
Okay, but he didn't give the ball to the other team at the wrong time.
No, he did.
Boy,
he did. No, in the big game, in the big games that we call big games,
I watched every one.
He gave the ball to the other team at the wrong time.
I just remember him losing to Utah 45-44 every time, and you can't blame that on him.
Yeah, I'm not blaming him. I'm saying the contributing factors is when you give the ball to the other team. But beside that, what you think he said about he called your guy Tom Brady not the GOAT, but Aaron Rodgers the GOAT of all time? What you think? Do you like him still?
Yes.
You still like him? Even though he thinks Aaron Rodgers is the GOAT, a guy that you don't like, versus a guy that you like in Tom Brady?
He just hasn't grown up yet. He'll learn. He'll wise up. He'll get it.
Okay.
Sooner than later.
I think he will
get it.
I think he will. From what everything that I've heard here recently is that he is growing up faster by the minute, and he has actually had a conversation with his father to let him know, let's slow it down some.
Although, speaking of his father, it feels like Caleb to DC would be the kind of move that his father would help engineer. Because I think his father would love that.
If whoever can engineer, as I said to you several days ago, I have no problem with anyone manipulating the draft to go wherever they wanted to.
Yeah.
John Elway did it. Eli Manning and Archie Manning did it. If you want to go play in Green Bay and you can engineer that, go play in Green Bay.
Okay.
If you want to play in D.C. and you can get them to pull the trigger to trade for you, go play in D.C. I have no problem with that.
Okay, so here's how I feel about that position of quarterback. If Caleb is your guy and you believe in him and he's going to back you up,
go get him.
You just go get him.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter.
If it requires 2 firsts and 2 seconds, you just go do it because in the long haul, you'll forget about the draft picks. You'll have your quarterback.
And you could do a la Los Angeles Rams. They gave up a haul to go get Matthew Stafford and didn't care and went and won a Super Bowl. You could do that if it pays off. Or you could be the Shanahans and you like Trey Lance and you gave away a haul to go get him, and then you realized it wasn't going to work and you got rid of him. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with it at all.
I will give you this. The Chicago Bears' current quarterback actually fits better in Chicago than Caleb would because, as you know, and I lived in Chicago for 3 years as the lead columnist of the Chicago Tribune, it is hard to play offensive football in November and December and January in Chicago, Illinois. It's just hard.
It's hard. It's windy. It's cold. It's weather conditions. It's all, and you don't have any players. They got no players. Chicago needs a lot. That's why I don't understand why they don't understand they need a lot. So if you move off of that number 1 overall pick, you get an opportunity and a chance to build your roster so you can be competitive in a division that seems like it's going to go to Green Bay anyway.
Bottom line to this discussion, you brought up Jaden Daniels. In a few minutes, we'll get into this, but a lot of people believe that J.J. McCarthy will get drafted ahead of Jaden Daniels. So we'll get to that in just a moment, but up next.
Miss me with that.
Thanks for watching, Undisputed fans. Do you want more highlights from the show? Make sure to click that subscribe button for all the exclusive content from Undisputed.